Hello, filmmakers, and welcome to the Wedding Film School Show, a podcast dedicated to the craft, business, and personal aspect of running a wedding film brand. The Wedding Film School Show is hosted by myself, Jared Haskell, and my longtime business partner, Jason McCutcheon. If you're looking for free resources or to get your wedding film business off the ground, make sure to check out weddingfilm.school or check us out on Instagram for news, giveaways, and more. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Film School Show. It's been a while, Jay. We're here in studio for once together.
Was it November almost?
November when we're recording this. So things are starting to wind down up in New England. And
had a crazy year.
Crazy year. We're going from shooting regularly 6 to 10 weddings a weekend to only doing 3 this upcoming weekend. So finally have a little bit of time to sit down and talk. And talk about something that we actually did last year, and we're going to dive into kind of the continuation of what we're doing into 2025. Do you want to intro to this thing?
So this is our marketing episode for Clarity Retreat 2025. But I think it's important to talk about a retreat and any kind of platform like that beyond just the marketing. Especially if you listen to this show somewhat regularly, even though we don't publish as regularly as we really would like to, but we're appreciative of that, by the way, if you hang on. But if you listen to the show, like, I think you kind of get it, who we are and what our goals are and what we're trying to do. And I think, like, the fullness of that is really found at this event. And we did it last year in Boston. It was a event called Clarity, which apparently someone else had a workshop called Clarity, which a person I was supposed to know, which I don't know. And we're not going to change the name, by the way. So sorry, everyone in the world, but we're just going to keep it because I have all the assets done. So, but we're doing it again in February 2025, February 3 in New York City at the Beekman Hotel. It's a luxury incredible property. And the goal is to get experienced wedding filmmakers who are looking to go to the next level. Not to say you couldn't go if you're new, but the information is very much targeted at people who are full-time and who are looking to go to the next level. We're going to be bringing in some awesome filmmakers to have the conversation, which we'll be revealing over the next couple of weeks. But the marketing side of it, you're going to see it. It's going to be on YouTube and Instagram and all the places, and hopefully you sign up and go. This episode, I don't want to talk about all that stuff. I want to say, like, what is the value of retreats? Why are we doing something like this? I was looking at, I love Jake and Nate from Runaway. They have their show, they have workshops and whatever, and they just did a workshop in New York City, and they did one in Ireland, and like, I didn't go, so I can't speak towards everything that's in it. But I know, like, what they did is, I think, pretty much what a lot of workshops are like. You go, you hang out, you have a really nice time. Looks like they had a bunch of fun. They did like a ghost hunt or something in a mansion in, like, Ireland. But, like, a lot of it was just styled shoots. And, first, if you're new in the industry, that kind of workshop is probably very beneficial to you. You go and you get hands-on and you work with experienced people, and they can help you with your composition and shooting and maybe prompts, whatever it is that they help with. We're not trying to run a workshop like that. And very much so, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, why I don't want to go to like that. I already know how to shoot. We understand that. We think that there is just a little bit of a gap in our industry for people who are full-time and serious to get together and actually take their business to the next level and ask really relevant questions and have some kind of more in-depth conversations. And so why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Jared's kind of like not the principal behind these kind of things. It's kind of me. So when I ask him these questions, like, it's almost like he's an outsider. And so last year, we did Clarity. What was that like? Explain that experience to people.
Hey guys, Bobby popping in quick to let you know that this episode of the podcast was brought to you by Tamron. Providing filmmakers with the perfect mix of performance and value, Tamron has every type of lens to fit your needs. With their moisture-resistant construction, close focusing abilities, 6-year warranty, and remarkable optical performance, Tamron lenses can help you upgrade your wedding films. I know I personally keep the 28-75 2.8 in my bag, and I often reach for it on a wedding day. So send them some love for making this episode possible. Check out some of their lens options in our gear link below or at www.tamron-americas.com.
Yeah, so clarity was awesome. I think I was skeptical a little bit myself, being a person who's been in the industry and has seen a lot of education. I was like, are we really doing education? Why? Because there's a million other things out there. And I think the way initially it was described to me by you is that you wanted to do something that was for people that were more experienced and kind of do be a little bit introspective, think about your business on a deep level with other wedding filmmakers who have done it and are in the midst of doing it. Kind of generate a little bit of community in that world, which I've always found the good workshops, and I do think there have been really great workshops that I've been to for wedding filmmakers, for photographers, versus kind of the ones that I would say aren't so great.
Even if they're not great, they're not great for us.
Right. The benefit is almost always in the people you're able to connect with and the relationships that you form in a very honest and real way. And so there's definitely a huge element there. Where everyone who was there was, I think everyone there was full-time, was a full-time filmmaker, maybe not exclusively to weddings, but I would say a majority of the people there.
They make their money shooting video.
A majority of their weddings, or the majority of their income comes from weddings too. So it was a very specific type of crowd. Being a wedding filmmaker, it tends to be pretty lonely for most people. A lot of times they're running it from the top just as a solopreneur. They're shooting, they're editing. Maybe some people have an editor that they're working with or an associate that they're working with. But in general, you're kind of making all these decisions by yourself. So when you can be around like minds, I think it just feels great. I think you're able to learn a lot, take what other people have done, and you just have a level of an understanding like with like minds. So there was that. But then on another level, because there are some educational elements that were at Clarity too, that I think that they were just a little bit more advanced conversations. I would probably not recommend like newbies go to it because they're just not at that level of their business where maybe they can think about it down the line in the future, but it's not something that you can apply to your business right away.
Yeah, we were talking about we brought on a planner and we talked about how we do, strategic marketing for her events and how we go about planning out the content and how I go about trying to understand what she wants for the films. And we kind of broke it all down, showed a couple examples. That's the type of education we do. And most of it actually was discussion based. Yeah. The entire time. And I think the actual program was pretty much get together, have a cocktail party, listen to people talk for 3 hours in the morning, and then everybody just hangs out together. Right. And then the other cool thing that we're able to do, this is a big deal to me on a personal level, is eating meals with people. If you were to tell me, I can go to an event and have dinner with all these filmmakers, or I can listen to them talk, I'm going to pick the dinner every time. Yeah. And I think that's the actual rubbing shoulders aspect was a big thing that I really enjoyed last year. Yeah. And I think the coaching was really nice too. We offered everybody the ability to do coaching sessions with all the speakers, and almost everyone took advantage of it, and they scheduled a 45-minute coaching session.
I think the missing mark in the education world was really just galvanizing that core group of top tier wedding filmmakers in the US and hopefully abroad too. That there wasn't really a place where people could just meet and have those conversations. Once you start kind of working in that network of people that are charging on average probably 10 grand per wedding, it opens up relationships with their friends and their network too. So you can have great second shooters. You can, potentially have referral networks, like.
Or even like show someone your film and actually respect that their opinion on it is valid.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Something as simple as that too. I think there's a lot of benefit outside of just like, hey, go hang out, but then also benefit outside of just the educational side as well. So
we've kind of meandered about it a little bit.
Mm.
We are going to be doing this. We want you to sign up. We're going to give you an early bird link, all that stuff. And, we want to see you there. And I don't care if you're experienced or not. I guess I think you
Did you mention where it is?
Yeah, New York City, the Beekman Hotel.
Yep.
But all that being said, I think the greater discussion is, why you need to be around people that make you better, in what does that mean, right? Because when you think about like, when you're first starting out, right, I think mostly you're looking for people who pretty much shoot or edit better than you.
Yep.
And really more inspire you. Like it doesn't even, they might not be better at all, but for some reason they inspire you. And I think that doesn't change entirely. Like certainly you're looking to be inspired, but I think the more experienced you get, I think you hit a wall where it goes beyond that simple stuff. And the people you start connecting with are the people who really are doing it right in the business.
Yeah.
Like they're surviving and they have longevity and they're making money.
Right.
And they understand the industry.
A lot of people starting out start editing, start shooting. You think you're a savant or something. We all do, right?
We all did.
we all did.
We might all still.
We might have that, view of ourselves still. But you almost think like, you're Andy Warhol and the work will find its way out, right?
Yes.
That eventually Lynn Easton is going to watch your wedding film and just be like, drop her coffee and be like, I've never seen God before until I watched that wedding film.
Call this man.
Right? And we all know that has never happened. Not one time has that ever happened. And if it has, it was a long time ago. Now, the way it works is you probably get to a certain point and you're like, why am I not breaking through to that next level of luxury or type of work that I want to do or client that I want to work with or budget, whatever it is.
By the way, if you don't want to do luxury, there are people there who don't want to do luxury.
Not just talking about luxury, talking about achieving the goals that you're setting out for yourself.
Yes.
You eventually hit a wall where you're like, I want to do more of this type of thing. What is that thing? I think going to something like Clarity, where you can actually talk to other people, helps some of those breakthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so that's what I would say. That's the perfect type of filmmaker. And that's the sweet spot of someone who just wants to break through to the next level. You can have the kind of conversations, be inspired. Like if I go to these things, I'm sitting down, I'm inspired. Like, and we go to a lot of them outside of wedding filmmaking. We go to Engage, we're going to RCP, we're going to Kindred next year. There's a lot of these things that we're going to. I just sit down and I'm like, I'm taking it all in and I'm finding new angles to grow our business outside of just the work itself, right? So I think that's some of the hope with Clarity is like having just these breakthroughs to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have some filmmakers there. We have yet to announce or release who those filmmakers are going to be that are, kind of in that stage of like having broken through in the last couple of years. And we're going to talk to them about just how they did that, what it took.
You know, the thing that bothers me the most about the internet, but also the wedding filmmaking education side and just wedding filmmakers in general, probably just the wedding industry, is like honesty is rarely rewarded in life. Vulnerability is rarely rewarded. If you're vulnerable and you say like people go, oh, that's mean, that's critical. It's like, no, it's vulnerable. Like if you say something mean or that makes people unhappy or that makes you look bad, but it's true, and you need to talk about it or you need to say it, there's nothing like you actually have to say that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You need a place where you can feel safe to sit down and
and that safe space is the internet.
Of course.
The safe place where you can say
it's
those
really
things.
Clarity. It's like places like that. I remember sitting with Aiden last year, and Aiden will probably listen, but he's talking about all the things he wants to do, and he's like, I'm going to do a sales course. And I'm like, why would anyone take your sales course? And he's like, I'm good at sales. I'm like, but you're not doing anything anyone wants to be doing. Like, and like, we have this debate. And I said, fine, do it. Do it. If people buy it, then I'll eat my words. But it's like, I could be wrong. He could be right. We're actually much better friends now. And the conversation was like, I don't know if this is related, but I know he's like almost doubled his pricing over the last year. Mm-hmm. And I look at that and I go like, I don't think it was because of us necessarily, but I think like when you run head on against, like, if you're a top dog, if you're an alpha, if you're the type of person that doesn't take crap and you're also an expert, you need to be sitting with other experts mm-hmm. to actually have somebody who's willing to fight you on one of your ideas.
Yeah.
And it is so essential as a creator to be in an environment where people will put up a fight against a bad idea, mm-hmm. where someone cares about you enough and they're close enough to you and they're willing, because they know that you're not going to just like go on Instagram posting that they're toxic because you had a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. That's so whack. Mm-hmm. I'm so against that. Like, it's like, I personally think you should be able to say whatever you want almost anytime you want, within reason. If you have the best intentions and you're being truthful and honest.
And as long as you're not like tearing people down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's like, if you're I think this about the industry, or I think this about myself, or whatever. But it's not always like, there are not a lot of great places to do that. Mm-hmm. Because like, you could do that on the internet, fine. Everyone's just going to misunderstand you because their egos or it's not a nuanced place to speak. Mm-hmm. When you're with people and you say to someone like, I got to be honest, like, I only got 3 weddings booked next year. You're not going to post that in a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. There are just some things that you need to talk about as an artist that you can't talk about in a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And you can't talk about it with an influencer. Mm-hmm. You have to talk about it with another person that you have a relationship with, who has nothing to gain from the advice.
Yep.
All they have to gain is like helping you or sharing their experiences. And really at the core of clarity is this idea of, you need to know what you want. And it's really hard to know what you want when you're trying to also do what you want. Mm-hmm. So we want to give people a space to take a break. It's a very light schedule. We don't pack it full of activities. We don't pack it full. You pretty much have morning sessions and then the afternoon off, and we have dinner together. Mm-hmm. But it felt like it was packed.
Yeah. Optional activities in the afternoon.
Yeah. There are things you can do in the afternoon, but you don't have to. A lot of people might just go sit down at the hotel and go get a massage. I don't care what you want to do.
Yep.
And so that's part of it. The other part of it is I was like, let's go somewhere that's like a luxury property mm-hmm. that is similar to the types of weddings and the locations and the places that our clients would want to go. Mm-hmm. So we want to have that kind of experience. And then I like good food, so the food is good. And so, I think at the end of the day, though, like, the most important thing is like the vulnerability side and the conversations that you're going to have. Mm-hmm. And whether or not, forget the retreat, just think in terms of like, if you're a podcast listener, like, you need people in your business life who you can literally sit down with and tell them that your business is not doing well. Mm-hmm. If you don't have people like that in your life, you need to get them.
Yeah. I think these events are a lot of fun, and I'll take it all the way back to when we were doing wedding film school speakeasies in Vegas. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff. Like, it's just being able to connect to people, have those kind of honest conversations, and just be like, how did you get through this phase of your business? Like, that's beneficial. And I think in general, most people want to help other people in our industry. It's so small, dude. Like, our industry is so tiny that it's like, there's not really a lot of like room for that kind of like crap that you might see in like a bigger, super competitive like market. I still think it's very competitive, but there's nuance there, like people, even like my main competitors, Aiden is one of them. He's in our backyard. He's like kind of in, New York. We rub up against each other a lot in New York and Vermont, but I want to see that dude succeed. I love that guy. And I want him to like do well over probably other people in his area that I don't think are good for the industry.
The best thing for Jared and I is we're not real influencers or educators. We are wedding filmmakers who want the industry to be molded in a certain way.
Right.
We want the industry to be best for full-time wedding filmmakers. And if you're part-time, you hear that and you take it in offense, please don't. Because what I want you to do is become a full-time wedding filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like, and I you can do part-time or whatever, but like at the end of the day, like, you're not part of our world.
Mm-hmm.
If you're part-time, like, you're not in the same world.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily that you are necessarily capping yourself by being part-time.
Mm-mm.
Because there are some people that do very well and are shooting for high-end planners that are part-time. But I would say it's kind of the exception.
You're not going to WIPA. You're not like
You might, but
maybe,
it's also
but
it's few and far between.
chances
It's
are,
one out of
if you're a
every
filmmaker,
25.
you're not. Maybe if you're a planner and you're part-time, you're going to WIPA. But
Sure.
like most filmmakers, they're just not competing for the same jobs in the same situation, and they're not held. The real reason I say this is not to say full-time is better than part-time. In a lot of ways, part-time is much better than full-time.
Oh, it's a great part-time gig if you have a full-time job. It's a weekend warrior gig. That's
Yeah,
great.
and you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do a good job. You sell 15 weddings part-time, and then you can shoot really well and make good products and everything. You're not dealing with the same pressures as a person who's doing this full time. Like, if you're trying to make this your job, the feeling when it's not going well is such a massive dread. And like when you're full time and you go in a Facebook group during COVID and a bunch of part-time people are like, I'm going to be a good person and return all the money.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you're screwing us.
Yeah. Or just if you're part-time, you're not living and you're not charging like your livelihood depends on it, because it doesn't.
Or
You don't
even
my
see
main
the
thing with
industry the same way. Like, think about the post you had the other day with that guy. If you don't know, Jared's a bit of a celebrity now with our Stop Go Love account on Instagram, because he made an incredibly controversial opinion or comment. Tell everybody about your little kerfuffle.
I mean, first of all, I didn't know I was commenting under our Stop Go Love account, but maybe that's why I got traction. But
You and Kevin Durant.
yeah, my burner account. But yeah, I just said, someone was like, "Oh, look, these videographers are getting out of control," and he showed like 4 camera angles of a ceremony. I was like, the only thing controversial about this is the fact that the videographer is wearing a hoodie in the shot.
He's wearing
It's
like
not
a
the
hoodie
camera.
with like a skull and like a rose
he's wearing
on
a hoodie.
it.
And people, for the most part, I think everyone agrees.
Yeah, we got like 3,000 likes on that dumb comment.
But then all the other people that aren't wedding filmmakers, who are like underwear photographers or whatever, like, we're like, you can't judge a person by what they wear. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, clearly people that don't work in the wedding industry, like.
Well, what's funny is I got a message like yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was a filmmaker, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate how well you dress at your weddings."
Yeah.
Like, here's the point. You want to do it part-time and you want to wear shorts to every wedding? I actually think you're bad for the industry, just so you know, like, because it makes us look bad.
Yeah.
Because most people agree with us that you look like a schmuck. But it's actually none of my business. So I can't
Do whatever
stop
you want.
Do whatever you want.
But the person you're hurting is yourself, first and
Well,
foremost.
no, the person you're hurting is me.
Sure, but that's second. They don't care about you.
They don't care. I'm just letting you know that
But they're
you
hurting
are,
themselves.
Maybe they're hurting themselves.
are.
Maybe they'll just get
If you
booked
wear-
by a bunch of crappy people
If
who
you wear
don't
shorts
if you
to
wear
a wedding.
shorts.
Maybe, but like I do think you're going to get a lot of people, no matter what market, lower market, whatever, that are going to say, "I'm not going to hire that guy. He wears shorts." They will. They'll say that.
I think that you're right, but I think a person who wears shorts probably wouldn't get hired anyway because there's a bunch of other problems.
Yeah.
But regardless, my point is not to say that you shouldn't get to wear shorts. My point is to say I don't want to have a discussion with you about how the wedding industry should be.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
not
the way that
interested in
people
your-
think.
I'm not interested in your opinion about it.
Yeah.
Maybe your clients don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe people who are only willing to pay your prices don't care. But if anyone in my part of the industry did that,
Yeah.
who works the weddings I do, it actually hurts me
Mm-hmm.
because they think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
The next client, they go videographer, video. And the amount of times we go into space and like the photographer acts bizarre because you can tell that they had these insane experiences. Like that's what I'm interested in, is my point.
Yes.
It's like I'm interested in my part of the industry.
Yeah.
Which is the high end to luxury space. And I don't mean luxury weddings that are crazy, but I just mean like professional wedding vendors and the things that affect us.
Yeah. I think I have a pretty lofty goal for wedding film school, right? The reason why I'm still involved is because we want to elevate the industry. Why? It doesn't pay my bills. Like we spent
Indirectly, it could help us, but not directly.
well, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on wedding film school with very little return, right? We're at a net loss. We are definitely significantly in the red, the amount that we invest.
Guaranteed
in
50 grand in the red.
But I would say the benefit to me is elevating the industry to be a respected career. And by means, like selfishly, I hope we are able to all raise all boats through critiquing the bad and pushing the good.
The professional
that is
standards,
the whole point of having a platform to me.
the professional standards in our industry with wedding filmmakers and the things that people getting started out emphasize and also don't understand are pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think a lot of filmmakers really comprehend how far behind our market segment is compared to literally
people, like still they I'll talk to brides and for those of you who don't know, I probably am taking 600 consultations every year, maybe 500. I'll be conservative, maybe 500. The amount of people I talk to on the phone, ranging from $2,000 budgets to $20,000 budgets, these brides and grooms, is I didn't want to get a videographer. We were just at a wedding, and let me tell you about this videographer. They were on the altar. They were disrespectful. They stood in front of my grandparents. They asked them to move. They wouldn't move. They were rude. They had a fight with the photographer. The amount of stories I hear just on a phone call with these people,
you
like
see in a group, in like a Facebook group
very
week.
regularly, is high.
Mm-hmm.
And so my goal is to educate people on how to be better. Like that's what I can give back, because the perception of wedding videographers is shit in the wedding industry. It's why we're not respected on every level, from planners.
There's no reason you shouldn't be charging exactly what the photographer's charging, and
Yes.
you never will be able to demand it, because the average person who does this for a living, by that means we 30 grand of funny money, conducts themselves as if it's a part-time gig.
Yeah.
And
And by the way, I think it is getting better.
it is getting better.
Filmmakers are more respected than ever.
Yes.
They're able to charge more than ever. So like, I'm not going to take any credit for that, because I don't think I at least want to have the conversations so that everyone else can go have separate conversations, and we're just a part of the conversation.
Well, and by the way, if you're hearing this and you're new and you're like, oh, they're attacking me. We're not. We're like, everyone learns and starts somewhere. And so if you're new and you make some of those, I would say those are etiquette kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then of course your films need to be good, but the etiquette.
Well, I think every wedding filmmaker can say, like, we want to elevate the industry and be better so we can all charge more. That's how we can all get on the same page. Now we can have a conversation about how we do those things or don't do those things.
But I want to speak towards the new people, because if you're newer and you're listening to this, here's what you got to understand. Everyone is talking to you, and everyone wants your money, because we know you're going to give it. You know who won't give any money and no one is talking to because they won't give money is experienced people. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do with that conflict, because it's like, I know for a fact that, like, not only do I have a lot to offer, but I think connecting experienced people has a lot to offer, but yet all the experienced people are spending their time pursuing unexperienced people. So it ends up being like, there's nothing for people who are like, with the exception of Vision Quest, which maybe is going to come back, been on hiatus. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really for us. And it's really interesting. Like, one thing that really struck me about pursuing like luxury, we're attending this thing called Kindred, which they only have 100 people, 50 planners, 50 creators.
Invite only.
Yeah. You have to have a referral, all this cool stuff. So we're really excited about it. We're going, and we'll let you guys know how it is. But I looked at the list from last year, and I think I counted 4 filmmakers and like 46 photographers. And that is the issue, guys. Is like we are not having the conversations that need to be had. We're not meeting the people we need to meet. We're not putting ourselves in the positions we need to put ourselves in. Some of that is money. Some of that is like, these are expensive events and you guys don't have the money to go. We get that. So this is kind of our contribution. Is like, maybe you can't afford to go to Engage. Maybe you can't afford to go to Kindred or all of them or do what we are able to do. But you can afford to go to this. It's going to be $2,000 and up, depending on what you want to do, you know, for all your food, all your lodging, all the community, all the education. And that's all in price, you know, $2,000 to, you know, $2,700, depending on what you want to do. And that's what we can bring to the table. That's what we can offer you is like, you want to be around people who have made it, who can talk to you and be real, and you want to be in a place where like you can actually have a real authentic conversation and no one's going to out you and no one's going to consider you being negative or criticize you. You're not going to get embarrassed. That's what this is for. If you're experienced and you're like, I don't want to go to another workshop and shoot portraits again, I promise you we will shoot no portraits, although we might go to B&H. That would be fun. But it's just a different thing. And that's really our point, is not so much all this other stuff is great. And there is a time and a place. If you are new, I highly recommend you go to one of John and Nick's things or one of, you know, the guys at Runaway Vows or fine. Like those are good events and I highly recommend you check them out. What we know is that there's really nothing for us, me and Jared. So we wanted to come up with an event that we would want to go to. And if you are looking for that type of experience and you're looking for that type of thing, hopefully we'll see you in New York in February 3rd. If that sounds good to you and you are kind of like looking for a kind of a different experience, I highly recommend you just, you know, be an adult, go get it, whatever it is. Even if you don't go to retreat, like get some people in your life that you can have real conversations with and be honest and be vulnerable with, and like, actually let's get to work. If the retreat sounds good to you though, I'd love to see you there. Tickets are starting at $19.99 for early bird and for repeat people. And people, also, I'd highly encourage you talk to people who went last year if you want to know. I'm sure they'll tell you that they had a good experience, but head over to clarity-retreat.com and sign up. We want to see you guys February 3, New York City at the Beekman Hotel. We're going to have a great time. We're going to start with an awesome little party that Monday night when you check into your hotel, and then we're just checking out Thursday. But Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be packed with a lot of good times, real conversations, and of course, mentorship that we think is really important. So hopefully you see you there.
Yep. Cool, guys. And as this season kind of winds down professionally, do expect some more content coming out from Wedding Film School. That's kind of how it always works on our end. We have less to do, so we can actually come on in and talk weddings, get some people on here, all that kind of stuff, as well as over on YouTube. If you're not familiar with Wedding Film School, know that we do every Thursday. I would say most Thursdays, probably, right, Jay?
I'm going to do it right now.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a Wedding Film School Live, which is a film critique with Jason and Bobby, where they will have submissions, and sometimes they do website reviews, sometimes they do pricing reviews, kind of the whole thing. But usually it's going to be wedding films. So if you have a film that you're proud of, or maybe you are, just starting out and you need just ground level kind of critiques, that's a great place to do that. We do that for free. Again, every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check that out. Check us out on the Facebook group, Wedding Film School. Great place where you can get involved with the actual filmmaker community. Great conversations over there where you can make some friends. Follow us on YouTube, Wedding Film School, as well as our separate Wedding Film School show channels. And yeah, that's where you can connect with us on all fronts, Instagram as well. Until next time, guys, we'll see you here on Wedding Film School.